The team most likely to win the Super Bowl this year is the Chiefs. They have the best quarterback, obviously, an elite coach, and they filled in their biggest need at running back this year in the draft with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think that puts them over the top, and they're going to become unstoppable. If Mahomes can stay fully healthy this year, they have a chance to go undefeated. Next up in my Super Bowl bubble is the Saints. I think they have one of the best rosters, and it feels like every single year for the past few years they've been the favorites in the NFC, and they haven't been able to get it done. But with extra playoff teams, that gives them a better chance to be level with the rest of them, even if they can't secure a bye like last year. So I think that boosts their odds, and they obviously have Drew Brees and Sean Payton and a great supporting cast. Although I'm not a big Jimmy G fan, all he does is win games, so that's the most important thing as a quarterback, and I can't just ignore the fact that they made the Super Bowl and were one quarter away from winning against the Chiefs, who came back every single game of the playoffs. So that's where the San Francisco 49ers are third, because I don't think they're as good as the Saints, but you can't ignore the production of them over and over again. In fourth for the rankings of teams most likely to win the Super Bowl, I have the Ravens. This team was tough to place either here or on the edge of the bubble because I couldn't really decide what they belonged in, because they had the most explosive offense, but it's tough for them to play from behind. Even though Lamar led the league in passing touchdowns, it doesn't seem like the Ravens are a team built to win from behind with limited wide receivers and an offense based pretty much on the running game, but Lamar's untackleable in certain situations, so they're always dangerous. As I slide down to the second tier and hit the fifth ranked team, I'm going to put the Seahawks there because they have an elite coach and elite quarterback, and whenever you have the second best quarterback and an elite coach, you always have a chance to win the Super Bowl, because those are the two most important things on a football team, and they're pretty much set at those until they decide to retire. For the second team in the second tier, I'm going to have to put the Bucs. I mean, can you really go against Tom Brady? That's really hard to do, especially when he has two elite level receivers, probably second tier receivers, and he just brought Gronk back. We don't really know how good Gronk's going to be, but we know he can be elite and can be the best tight end ever. I don't really think Bruce Arians is that good of a coach, but anytime you have Tom Brady, you have to be considered serious Super Bowl contenders. And now for the last team in the third tier, they could be very easily down a tier because I don't really believe that much in the Packers this year, but anytime you have Aaron Rodgers, who wasn't as explosive as normal last year, he can still win games, and they have a really good supporting cast, although they didn't do anything to help boost it this year early in the draft. I still think they can be one of the top threats in the NFC. Whenever you have a top quarterback and a rising coach with a good supporting cast, not elite, you can still win the Super Bowl and be dangerous to other teams. Now we're going to move to the third tier out of the inner bubble. These are the teams that are still one step away from being true contenders of the Super Bowl. We're going to start this tier with the Eagles because I believe that Carson Wentz can be an elite quarterback, and with the new addition of Jalen Reagor, who we don't know much about, but he could be a top receiver. You never know. Anytime someone's taken that high, they could be a real threat right away. And if they could make the playoffs last year with almost no receivers, albeit in a bad division, Carson Wentz led that team to the playoffs with pretty much practice squad offensive threats. Next up, we have the Cowboys, and many people picked them to make the Super Bowl last year because they had the best roster around Dak Prescott. We don't know if Dak Prescott's going to play this year or not, but they still have an elite supporting cast around whoever the quarterback in that offense is. We're going to have a video coming out on that Cowboys outlook soon. Up next, it's the Bills. They've been building a really good team around Josh Allen, who I'm a big believer in. They've been building for a long time, and with Tom Brady off the Patriots, this could finally be their chance to step up and take control of the AFC East and make a deep playoff run as a sleeper team. Next up is the Texans, to be the last team on this list. I think Deshaun Watson is a top 5 quarterback, and it's really good that you haven't heard many rumblings about his contract situation yet, knock on wood. But whenever you have a quarterback like that, you always have a chance to win and go deep in the playoffs. Many people are sleeping on them since they traded away DeAndre Hopkins in a terrible trade, but you can't ignore the fact that they added David Johnson and Brandon Cooks. Look for Brandon Cooks, David Johnson, Will Fuller, and Kenny Stills to really step up this season if the Texans can fulfill their full potential. Thanks for watching the video. We're going to be making a lot more football videos as we get closer to the season. That'll hopefully happen. Let's go. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Thanks.